Welcome. This is yoga for writers, authors, and illustrators. So we're gonna put our tools away just for a bit. Maybe it's your computer you're gonna get away from for just a little bit. And we're going to get the blood flowing, get our creativity going, take care of our hands, take care of our hips from maybe sitting a little bit too long. And then we can go back to writing and illustrating and just being creative. So come on and join me on your mat. Welcome. So first things first, we are just going to take a deep breath in together and a big sigh out. You can sit however you want. Let's do that again. Inhale. Clearing that out. And then just give the arms a shake. So again, you can be sitting up on a blanket or a chair. You can be sitting down, however that feels good. Just start to shake, lift the arms a little higher, shake, shake, shake. And we're gonna get that circulation to go to those little end points, those little tiny capillaries. One more time, arms up and down. Come to a child's pose. So take your arms forward, palms down, reach your sitting bones way back, reach the hips back. Knees can be together or separated. And then we'll do those deep breaths, but this time through the nose, and we're just gonna get a little bit more into the spine and the rib cage and the lungs. Inhale. Exhale through the nose. One more time, inhale. Exhale through the nose. Rise up to all fours, and we're going to take care of our hands, our arms, our wrists, and the underside of the forearm. So usually when we're curling forward and writing, we get a little tight here. So take the fingertips, point them towards the knees in your all fours position, and if you want to go ahead and actually pad your knees with a blanket, you can do that, or a towel, whatever you have handy. And just pause here with the shoulders over the wrists. So for a lot of us, this is gonna feel like enough of a stretch. If you need more, you can start to shift your hips back and increase that stretch. Slow your breathing and just let that stretch happen without too much force. And come back to an all fours position, and we'll go a little bit more into the spine. So as you inhale, lift the heart, lift the hips. As you exhale, drape the tail, drape the head, open that back body up. Get a nice opening behind the heart. And then reverse that and back again into the rounding. Come back to neutral. And what's really good when we're trying to tap into our creativity is to kind of turn our world upside down. So we're literally gonna do that in a downward dog if I could ever get this hair out of my mouth. Lift your hips up and back. Let the head hang down. Give the head a little bit of a shake, yes or no, or circle it around, whatever feels right. And as you take a pause here, and just feel yourself in a different location, your heart now over your head, just pedal out through the legs, opening the back of the legs. So we might have been seated for a long time, as we writers, authors, and illustrators tend to do. And we want to just give our hamstrings a little bit of length. Slowly lower back down to your all fours position. And we're going to make sure the shoulders are over the wrists and get a little bit more energy going into our center. So lift up one knee and just draw a little circle. So for you illustrators, drawing circles, nothing new. Start to draw a circle, and it can be big or small or somewhere in between. You might even imagine that you have a piece of chalk or something on your knee that's actually drawing that circle. And then place the knee back down, reestablish organs towards the spine, not rounding, not sagging, but nice in between, and start to draw a circle with the other knee. You can play with one direction and the other, but just making sure that you have that hip core connection going on, a little bit more fire in the belly, stabilizing at the core. Obviously, upper body is working to hold us here as well. And then place that knee down. Let's go for our second upside down, downward facing dog. Reach the hips out and back behind you and pedal it out as necessary to feel some length that feels good in your body. I would recommend too, pausing with the knees. They don't have to be straight, but a little straighter than when you were alternating. And do a swish of your hips side to side. So this is going to feed into the IT bands, the outer glutes, and even the side ribs. So you can take your hips over to one side and pause there and breathe. And then do the same thing. Shift your hips over to the other side, pause there and breathe. You're grounding down the opposite hand pretty actively. Go to the center, lower the knees, and we'll start to take a little bit better care of our hips. Same thing, kind of synovial fluid, moving, blood moving. And we'll take our right foot forward, and fingertips can come down, or you can use blocks like I have, or anything that you have handy in your house. And shift that left knee back any amount to the point where you feel an opening happening at the front of the left hip. Breathe here. Now the top of your back foot can be down or the toes can be tucked. I like to tuck them because it helps stabilize my kneecap a little bit by engaging the shin muscle, but it's up to you. Inhale, and as you exhale, shift back. So you're gonna lift everything but the back of your heel, sole of the foot, arch, and toes. Elongate your right waistline here. Breathing as if you're painting the back of your leg with your breathing. Slow and steady wins the race here. Put the right foot back down, let the pelvis shift a bit forward, hands down, lift the back knee, and then come into a plank or a knees down plank. So if you're a little newer to this, knees down is great. Maybe you're tucking the tail a little bit more, but I don't want you sagging the belly or lifting the hips. So cinching that up, low ribs towards the hips just a little bit more here, whether you have the knees up or not. And then we'll all lower the knees and take the left foot forward. So if you need to rise up to take the left foot forward, you can, or just tent the fingertips. Maybe you're using your left hand to kind of put it there. And come into that lunge with the back knee down. Right knee is gonna scoot back any amount as you get a little more spaciousness to the front of that right hip. So when we're sitting, sometimes we get a little more condensed at the front of the hips. And we just wanna give a little bit of time with a more open position. Breathing here, again, check in with the top or the tucked toes of that back foot. Inhale, and as you exhale, let's take that shift back. Hips come back, back of your left heel is down, spread your toes. Maybe you haven't thought about your feet much today because you've been thinking about your story or whatever you're working on. And now we can just bring energy to something else that we haven't brought our energy to. Breathing, again, painting. Pick a color or multiple colors and paint the back of your leg with your breath. Make sure you're not hunching the shoulders up around the ears, but that there's some opening, some spaciousness there. Lower that left sole of the foot down. Again, take the pelvis a bit forward. Back toes are gonna tuck. Lift the back knee and step back to plank. Now you can again put those knees directly back down for your knees down plank, where your knees are further back than your hips, or you can go to that full plank. Taking just another breath there. And lower the knees down. Hips draw back into that child's pose position. So when we are working in front of us, we have a tendency to round a little bit here, so we just want to give ourselves a little bit of opposition to that. So I'm going to actually show you from the front, and you can stay however you like, but I want you to take your knees wide if you can. Take your fingertips to the floor, elbows are gonna bend, and you'll imagine sliding your shoulder blades onto your back as you draw your chest towards the floor. It doesn't need to touch the floor, it's just coming closer. And then, like a tiger in the grass, you're just gonna move a little bit side to side and shifting here. So from the side, it would be, and I'm gonna move a little bit so I'm not so much out of the frame, side to side here, elbows lifting to the sky, and heart sliding closer to the left and closer to the right, opening the pectoral muscles. And then pause in your center, take a full inhale, and exhale. One more inhale. And as you exhale, press into the floor, round the body, drape the tail, drape the head, keep the fingertips pressing gently down. Open the back body with your breathing. Neutralize all that work, coming back to your downward facing dog. If you've had too many downward dogs, just go to a child's pose from before. If you're ready for downward dog, find your way into that downward dog and stamp your hands gently down. So it's like saying, I was here, like when you leave your handprint in the wet concrete. Root down, lengthen through the spine, take a full inhalation and sigh that out. Lift the heels as you bend the knees any amount and walk backwards, hands to feet. Keep bending the knees until the belly comes onto the thighs. Reach your arms back behind you. So let's wake up the arms, shoulder blades onto the back, working with that more open chest. Breathing, draw your organs towards your spine so you're getting some core work. And then press into the floor. Slowly rise all the way up as you reach up. And then bring your hands back to your heart center. Deep breath in. And like we started, we'll just shake off some clutter here. Shaking it off, kicking through the legs here, the arms. Let's look into the jaw. Soften the jaw all the way from the inner ears into the jaw points. Widen your stance wider than your hips. Not so wide that you feel like your legs are falling from behind, going to the sides, but that they're still underneath you. And we're gonna go back and forth doing some external work with the hips here. So one's external, one's internal. So turn one set of toes to the side. If you're mirroring me, this would be your left side. And begin to bend into warrior two legs. So roughly the knee tracks over the toes. If it could be behind, maybe not so much forward, but finding yourself in that position that feels good in your knee and your hips, waking up the back inner thigh a little bit here. And then straighten that up, turn the toes back forward, switch sides. Other knee starts to bend towards that short edge of your mat. Breathing here, rooting the entirety, heel, big toe ball joint, and pinky toe ball joint. Now we'll add the arms. So we'll come back to center, reach up, exhale, go to that first side, and now take the arms out to the sides as well. Inhale, reach up, toes forward. Exhale, switching sides, warrior two, arms reach out. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, landing slowly into that perch of warrior two. Last one, inhale, reach up. Exhale, warrior two, last time on this side. Inhale, reach up, and then we're gonna go for a fold. So if you need to put a chair in front of you or some blocks, go ahead and do that. I'm gonna scoot back, and then find your way down. Now, it might be really nice to bend the knees, especially if our hamstrings are feeling a little tight, or even if our back is, or both. And then find your way into a sweet spot where the breath is easily happening for you, and the stretch is available, and you're feeling like, okay, I'm doing some good work here. Find that place, and if there needs to be a little bit of movement, a little swish, sway, maybe you're alternately bending one knee and the other, maybe the legs stay straight. Let this be more intuitive to when you find tension, then you can provide the movement that helps decrease that tension. Then find a pause with just your breathing. Really feel that you're active through rooting into your feet. Bring your hands to your waist or walk your way forward or to your chair, and bend the knees as you inhale, slowly take your transition up. Shake it out a little bit here, and then heel toe or hop in. If you're hopping in, land with bent knees, please, in the center. And we're gonna do some scoops. So scoops, these are our scoops. We're going to work the legs here as well. So the deeper you bend your knees, the more work it will be. So if you want to do smaller, do smaller. So bend your knees any amount, scoop down like you're scooping into the earth, and then draw that back in and press out. Okay, so that's the action. You're going to, maybe you're scooping from a higher position. Maybe you're not bending the knees as much. Scoop, pour in, and use an exhale, press firmly out. Continue, scoop, pour in, and exhale. Twice more. Draw what you need in. Press out what you don't. Last one. Good. Inhale, reach the arms up. Walk to the top of the mat. Keep the arms up if that's okay, and maybe lift the heels. Arms can go down to hands to the heart or by your sides if you'd rather. Finding your balance, take your gaze a couple feet in front of you or across the room so that you can find a little more of that focus. Inhale and exhale. We'll begin to, and I'm going to show you from the side, we'll begin to lower the heels as the knees bend, float the wings down. Inhale, reach up, maybe heels lift, maybe they don't, arms up. Exhale, same thing. Heels down, knees bending, float the arms down. Inhale, slow transitions through both the rising and the lowering. Reach up, maybe with the heels. One more time, actively lowering down, getting a little more of that heart rate up because yes, we're using these larger muscle groups of the legs and finding that movement. And then exhale, float the heels down, float the arms down, and roll the shoulders out and down as well. Come up to the top of the mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, maybe you slide your hands down your legs. Bend the knees to the point that it feels right for your back and your hamstrings. Inhale, rise halfway up. Exhale, fold any amount. We'll take it back to that full plank or knees down plank. So please make the modifications that are right for you. It's just like a story. We need to edit out what doesn't serve the whole purpose. Breathing here. And then we're all going to lower down onto our bellies. So that might look like, if you know chaturanga, lowering through that, or knees coming down and just lowering as it's comfortable to you. This time, tops of the feet for everybody are on the ground. Let's widen our feet out a little bit more and just sway the hips side to side. Loosen through the glutes and let that relax. We'll go into a Sphinx pose. So again, when we are working in front of us, we're not really usually opening through our heart center. So we want to balance that out. In Sphinx pose, elbows are roughly underneath the shoulders. You can take them further forward if that's better on your spine. Now, put a little bit of root to the top of the feet. Roll the shoulder blades back and then pull back gently but actively with the hands and the forearms as you draw the sternum. Think of the sternum going forward, not up so much. Breathe here. Paraspinal muscles active, working that back body, shining through the heart. Inhale fully here. And exhale, slowly come on down. And maybe this time you bend the knees and swish the hips a little side to side. Just sort of moving the hips in the sockets a little bit, being a little more lackadaisical. Lower the legs, bring the hands alongside of the chest, tuck your toes, root your knees down, lift your organs towards the spine, and press up to all fours, and then transition into your child's pose. Really finding that length. So again, you might creep the hands a little further forward to tug through, so you're reaching forward and reaching the hips back. Inhale, exhale here. Come into a seated position, please, and bring the legs forward and just shake them out. Whatever works. You might rotate at the ankles, move the toes. And now I'm going to ask you to do something super weird, but you guys are creative folks, and so I know you'll handle it just fine. Bring your knees to a bent position, soles of the feet down. They're roughly sitting hips distance apart. Turn your fingertips again in a weird direction like we started, towards your hips this time. Now, depending on what's going on in the shoulders, you might scoot your hips way far forward towards your heels or less. But you're gonna press into your hands, pick up your hips and scoot them forward. Now, start to round your back body down towards the floor, trying to take your lumbar towards the floor. It's not gonna touch, but it's gonna get closer. You might start to feel something happening in the front of your shoulders. You want to round the shoulders forward to feel that stretch at the head of the shoulder here. And then alternately, maybe adding a little twist. It should feel less than comfortable, but not painful. So you can roll your left shoulder towards your right knee a little bit, and then your right shoulder towards your left knee. Whew. Whew, this is one that we never really make this shape, really impactful and healthy for the shoulders. Slowly ease out of that and come into a seated position of your choice. So I like to take my hips a little higher up. This is shown to help a lot of folks, especially if you have tighter hips and low back, to help them just feel a little more ease in sitting on the floor. So feel free to prop yourself up and take some time to elongate the spine, and let's go back into the breathing. Soften at the bridge of the nose, soften as if the entire sinus, all of the sinuses are relaxing. Take a slow inhale and sigh that out. Now reach your arms out to the sides, turn your palms up. Reach your thumbs, plug them back, lift the sternum. The inhale is here, and the exhale is in a rounding. So pick one arm to go on top, one arm underneath, round in, drape the tail, drape the head. Use the inhalation to unfurl out, blooming out and up. Reach the thumbs back. Exhale, other arm goes on top. And then rounding in, scoop the belly, round in, drape the head. Inhale, open out, plug the thumbs back. With your next exhale, turn the palms down and bring them back to the legs. Roll the shoulders out just a little bit more. We're gonna take our own fingers and we're gonna bring them right onto our heads. So usually when we're touching our heads or our faces, it's just kind of random stuff, but it's not this intentional thing. So we have tension in our heads, and so I want you to really get in there with the fingers bent and do some circling, some massaging. And if you like to get into the temples, you can. Some people don't like that as much. Maybe the jaw, like we kind of talked about earlier. Maybe you have to open and close there a little bit. But we're just waking up and bringing circulation to the skull, all around through the head. Okay. And then to take care of the hands a little bit, shake them out. And once again, you'll reach the fingertips towards you. You might have to come to your knees for this in order to make this accessible. And take a full inhale and sigh out. And then hang your arms down. So some of us, if we have longer arms and a shorter torso like myself, when we hang our arms down seated like that, our arms touch the floor. If that's the case with you, you can do this sitting on your sit bones to heels or sitting on blocks, or you can actually come up to a high kneeling position, which will make the glutes and the hamstrings just get a little bit more active. So whatever position you've chose, hang your arms down. Now make a fist, but not like I'm gonna get you, but a really soft curling in of the hands, okay? The thumbs go over. And then we're gonna take our knuckles as if they could touch the underside of our forearms and draw that in. Did you feel it? Did you guys feel what happened on the top of the forearm? So we were taking care of the underside. Now we're taking care of the top, especially if you type a lot, draw a lot, all of that. And then we'll rotate the knuckles out to the sides, back through and forward. Out to the sides, back through and forward. Still while you're reaching the knuckles towards the underside of the forearms. And shake that out. There are some muscles here, so you can come to whatever seated position works for you. On the arms and the top of the forearms here, that if you can kind of get in the middle, it's almost like inner elbow, outer elbow, and it's right down the center, but I like to kind of turn my elbow in like this. If you can take your 4 fingers and find, you kind of have to kind of go around and kind of push in and kind of tap dance in there a little bit, but you're really pressing, and you will find it. When you're on it, you'll go, oh, I know. If you're thinking, I don't really feel it, you're not there yet. So try to find where you go, ooh, there's something there. And then work that out as you maybe take your knuckles in that soft fist towards your the underside of your forearm and then the upper side, back and forth, or you can just keep your hand slack and just massage in that forearm area. This is great for if you have carpal tunnel, if you have wrist issues, fantastic. Shake that out and then go and do this doozy on the other side where you're like, I'm not feeling, oh, there it is. Again, you can go back and forth with the wrist, or you can keep the hand more slack. But we're using our own tools, our own hands, to give ourselves the head massage, the arm massage, to bring us back into a little bit more calm and a little bit more, hopefully, open-minded creativity. And then shake that out. So if you have something to prop your hips up on, please do that. And I'll bring you into what has been the most powerful thing beyond this type of movement, which has been huge. But if I can't do that and I just need maybe a 5-minute break, I will do a little bit of a hand movement and a breath that brings the nervous system into calm. It's scientifically proven, and just allows me to open my mind towards new ideas. So I invite you to join me. Sit up tall, close the eyes. Inhale, open the fingers wide. And as you exhale, take your pinky finger and your thumb to touch. Inhale, open all the fingers slowly wide. Exhale, take your ring finger and thumb to touch. Slowing down, inhale, open the hand gently wide. Exhale, middle finger and thumb to touch. Inhale, drawing it open. Exhale, pointer finger and thumb to touch. Inhale, blooms the hand open. And exhale, all the fingers towards thumb. Inhale, open. Exhale, turn the palms now down onto the legs, wherever that gently lands. Maybe it's the knees, and breathe. So Samavriti is even inhalation, even exhalation. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just imagine as well as you can. Maybe it's a 5-count inhale and a 5-count exhale. And I would like you, as I was saying, to imagine that you are linking everything from the crown of your head down to the toes and back, so that there is an easy pathway, cleared out, crown of the head, through the body, all the way to the feet, to the toes, and back up. And then we're going to shorten that path, but keep a huge amount of connection. The path is now from the center of the heart to the center of the brain and back. So maybe the path looks like the path through the woods or a field or a prairie, or maybe it's a ladder. Maybe you're traversing that breath from the heart center to the middle of the brain and back. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're imagining, picturing, let it be easy, accessible. And we'll just do one more thing for our lovely glutes and hips to prepare us for moving forth into the rest of the day. So come on and lay down on your back and cross one outer ankle to the top of the other knee. So I'm taking my right ankle to the top of my left knee, engaging my right ankle a little bit. So some of us are going to lay here and say, that's enough for the hips. If you want a little bit more, right hand goes through the triangle in the middle, left arm reaches around, interlace in front or behind your left knee, and draw the knees gently in. So they don't have to go far, probably, to feel that those right set of glutes, if your right leg is forward, are getting a stretch. And then movement here, a little shifting side to side, rocking side to side, might be nice. Opening into those glutes. And again, just so much of this is just about circulation, blood flow, and gentle stretch. And then draw both knees in and widen the knees and move your knees. They can go together forward and back, or alternating one forward and one back at a time. And then draw both knees in, and we'll do the other side. So left ankle, if you didn't do the left side first, engages gently, left arm through the middle. Oh, of course, you can just stay here if this is enough. Or maybe you're drawing that a little closer in, possibly adding some rocking movement if that feels soothing to you and opening to you. Being patient with our bodies in the way we often have to be patient with our manuscripts and with our art. Sometimes we have to just go another direction and find another way back in where there's less tension and fewer obstacles. And hug both knees in. And I do invite you to take either a Shavasana where you lay down on your back or with your legs straight out or knees bent, or even taking your legs up the wall, which I find when I need a creativity break, I can bring my legs up the wall behind me, or even a chair where my calves would be on the chair and my knees would be bent. Breathing. Deep breath draws through the whole system. Big sigh out. If it feels more connecting to you to take your hands onto your belly, you can. Arms can go out, maybe up. Maybe if you want more pectoral and heart opening, you let your elbows bend and kind of take one hand on top of the other and breathe here. Elongating the back of the neck and resting down to the earth. Whatever can softly land, maybe landing a little bit more deeply with every exhale. Stay here as long as you like to restore yourself, to restore your way of thinking, to restore the body. And let me just tell you that I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate your hard work. I appreciate your effort in the arts. And I hope you have a beautiful day. If you want more of this content and you want to know when a new video comes out, please hit subscribe. It's free. And if you got any value out of this video, please hit like and ask me anything in the comments. I will answer. Namaste.